Give me the lumber.
I think you want to hit the 2-iron, boss.
Said I want the big dog.
I know I hit it into the water.
Well, why do they even have water if you're not supposed to hit it there?
Because it's fun! We're having fun!
Yeah. I've been golfing all my life. I eat golf. I sleep golf. My wife get mad at me. All I do is golf.
We're waiting.
Welcome back to the Back T Boys podcast. I am one of your hosts, Tim. I am joined by Thomas and Kenny tonight. Fellas, how we doing?
Fantastic.
Cloud 9, partner.
Couldn't be more excited to be here tonight with you fellas. And we just wrapped up a pretty great interview with Alec, the one of the founders of Pinned Golf. Anyone who's been listening to this podcast for a while has heard him in the past, but this was an awesome interview, and we can't wait for you to hear it. Before we get to it, we got a few things to go over. As always, check out the Back T Boys on social media, on Instagram or Twitter or X. I'm sorry.
Every time.
Like, comment, all that.
Subscribe,
retweet, do it all. It's huge help for us. We're putting out some great content on Twitter. Episodes are announced on Instagram, and in the next few months, we're going to be getting into some more content on there, reels and longer form content on YouTube. So definitely go check that out. Also subscribe to the YouTube channel. And as always, this podcast is brought to you by Pinned Golf. We'll get into the interview with Alec from Pinned later. But Pinned's awesome. We talk about it all the time, and we had Alec on because their stuff's awesome. We love those guys over there. They make a great product, an awesome rangefinder, and awesome speakers at an affordable price. And you'll hear in the interview, it sounds like there's a lot more to come from Pinned in the next few years.
Yeah, really exciting.
Yeah,
Can't wait to see what's next on the list of products that they're going to be coming out with.
Good time to be on Team Pinned. So go to pinnedgolf.com, check it out, and use code BACKTBoysPod at checkout for 15% off. So first, I just want to address there was no U.S. Open review show. I know a lot of people were expecting it. We heard from a lot of people about it. Me, Thomas, and John did record one last Monday, and unfortunately we had some technical difficulties and weren't able to release it. Just some problems with the audio, and we were definitely bummed that wasn't able to come out. But basically, quick recap, Pinehurst was awesome.
I wasn't able to bet on Scotty Scheffler, who ended up winning the Travelers.
Did not win the U.S. Open.
No,
you weren't. True, you weren't.
Yeah.
We're all coming around on Bryson. I'm fully around on Bryson.
I'm not there.
You're coming though. What else? Did I miss anything from the?
It's just their bets on the Travelers for the most
bets
part.
on the Travelers. Thomas again has been banned from betting on Scotty Scheffler. Thank God. But yeah, I guess we could get into the Travelers for a little bit, and we did get pretty interesting golf tournament for sure, a signature event, and we had some fireworks there at the end, or more kind of orange smoke bombs.
Yeah, first I just want to say I was so excited to see Tom Kim in the running there towards the end. I think he's been due for a while.
For sure.
And he's such a good golfer. And the other really cool part of it is that him and Scotty are such good friends. And the fact that they came down to the two of them in all that chaos on 18 was pretty cool to see. And at least they could sort of lean on each other a little bit in that weird moment. But yeah, we had some climate protesters.
Just stop oil protesters.
And they stormed the 18th green, like somewhere around 5 of them, 4 or 6, something like that. I can't remember. Running with orange smoke bombs and all sorts of stuff, getting chased down by police. The memes were phenomenal.
Some great tackles from the Connecticut State Troopers there.
Yeah, Scotty Scheffler thought they were coming for him again.
He did. He ran.
Yeah.
The memes in regards to Scotty and police officers were the best by far. And the only credit I'm going to give to the protesters is the one individual who launched that red can right next to the cup.
Mm-hmm.
It was pretty.
I'd love to put a ball that close for being honest.
That's what I'm saying.
And the other thing coming out of it was I don't think they did themselves any favors either with the stopping an event like that, but then also just the reaction of the golfers themselves.
Yeah.
We had Scotty afterwards talking about how he was like in fear for his life a little bit during it, not really knowing what's going on. He was still shaken through the end of it. Same thing with Tom Kim and Akshay. I think he's the one who actually said he was fearing for his life in an interview afterwards. Not sure what's going on, and I'm sure it must just be a terrifying thing to see. Not only just I'm sure they've all dealt with like an unruly fan maybe running out or reaching or whatever, but having 4 or 5 people come sprinting onto a green,
smoke.
Yeah. I'm sure split-second decision. You're like, I don't know what is happening right now, and it must have been. It's crazy that they were able to finish that without any sort of like major mishaps after such a moment. Yeah,
definitely. I don't think the protesters did themselves any favors. I think everyone just thought they were a little ridiculous. Don't want to get political, but it was a very weird moment. You've seen a lot of these protests overseas in the UK.
Yeah, I feel like it's the first one we've seen show up on American soil, other than maybe the bridge ones. I think they've been on the Golden Gate, San Francisco, blocking traffic sort of stuff. But I feel like that's their usual.
It's definitely the first sporting event in America we've seen, because I know at a lot of soccer matches and even like some billiard things in the UK, they've protested at those. But this is kind of the first Just Stop Oil one we've seen in an American sporting event. I hope they don't continue, because you could see someone ended up getting hurt. You never know there. I mean, I think the protesters were the ones hurt by some of these tackles from the state troopers. I think Gerard Mayo up in Foxborough should call some of these cops, because it wouldn't hurt to have them in the secondary.
But yeah, I mean, it was a crazy moment. But coming down to it, Scotty had to finish off that hole afterwards, after cleaning up the greens as best they could. So that he's remained tied with Tom Kim, and then going to the playoff, I think they even moved the hole because they couldn't get the green completely clear, so that they didn't have to be putting over all this debris that had come out of these smoke bombs, and ended up going on and winning it against one of his best friends.
And Tom Kim, I mean, it shows you just how hard golf is. I mean, I don't know the exact yardage, but he had a lob wedge in his hand and couldn't hit that green.
Yeah.
Just a really great tournament. And I mean, there is no one that's hotter in PGA Tour events right now than Scotty Scheffler.
Tim, I do have a question for you too.
Hit me.
For someone that loves carnage in U.S. Open golf, what's your take on the Travelers and the winning score?
Yeah, I mean, you do know I love carnage, and that was one thing we talked about a lot in the episode. Yeah, so I love seeing it. I do. I don't know what it is in me, but I do love seeing carnage at any event, and there was a little bit that out there. I also side note, PJ,
I'm picking on you. Sorry, I'm picking on you just a little bit.
Yeah,
just because I'm obviously a Connecticut native. That Travelers event, what it means to the CT natives, but also all those players from New England. Yeah. They consider it their fourth major.
Oh yeah, Keegan afterwards on Twitter was talking about how much it means to him to have an event in New England. So it was great to see. I love that event. I wish, my only problem is I don't believe these signature events should be the week before or the week after a major. And it seems like the PGA Tour is getting that, and they're moving them like they're moving the Memorial next year. But I think that would be good to see, to kind of, because a lot of guys don't want to play the week after a major. They get so amped up for it.
The week after, not wanting it there, but I think a week before sort of tease it up nicely, because you have all the best players coming out, and basically, I mean, you could think of it as like a practice tournament where you have all the best guys minus the guys over on Live, all in the event and in the field, and you sort of get a taste of what you're going to see at the next one. I don't mind them there, but I do agree with the ones right after the fact, where it's like most guys are taking this week off if it wasn't a signature event.
Yeah.
But I would enjoy if they almost flip-flopped.
Yeah, and they've had, like, the Memorial was the week before, the Wells Fargo was the week before the PGA. So you're right. I don't mind the week before as much. The week after seems forced, and it seems like if the guy who wins is on the PGA Tour, he's not showing up. Like, it's just not going to happen. So I would like to see that change for sure. But definitely a good event. I do like the Travelers. It always produces interest in golf, which I believe is what the PGA Tour is about. Majors, I believe, are different, and I care more about the final score in majors than I do in PGA Tour events. That's what I will say on that. I've never been to the Travelers, and we should probably go at some point. That would be a good event for us to go to. We talked about it here, but
last year was my first year going, and obviously a huge Keegan Bradley fan. I went on Sunday, followed him from hole 1 to hole 18. I'll give the Travelers huge credit just for the property, the venue, because the last 4 holes you can all see from the 17th, like hillside. So the drivable par 4, like you can see it, you can feel the reactions. The short par 3, 17th tee shot is a tee shot I would never want to hit in my life. Like, I want to play River Highlands, but I do not want to hit that tee shot. I just want to go throw a ball in the pond, drop, and continue on. And then 18 is just a gully. 18 is just an awesome gully. So it is a really cool venue to watch golf.
Yeah, for sure. I don't think it's going anywhere. I think the tour loves that event. They made it a signature event, so I think it's gonna stick around. But boys, I think now would be a good time kind of send the listeners in to the interview. Obviously, Alec from Pinned has been on the show before, long time ago. One of the first episodes we ever had, probably 3 or 4. Awesome guy, and just we kind of got into a lot of different stuff. His golf game, kind of the early days of Pinned, what he's really the most proud of out of this is it's grown from something him and his buddies from college started into one of the major players in the rangefinder space. We got into some rapid fire questions, and it was just a great interview.
Yeah, I'm excited for people to hear it, and definitely learned a lot about his experiences, and even more exciting, like what's to come, like what they're thinking about. As much as he couldn't get into details, that they're always trying to push that boundary, and we'll let him speak to all that. Yeah, and this episode should come out on Monday. What's the date? So Monday, July 1st. So I hope everyone enjoys their 4th of July weekend. The next time you'll hear from the Back Tee Boys will be the week after, where we got all 4 of us will be together. Kenny will be down here. Thomas's brother's coming in, and our other buddy Gaz is coming for the member guest at 1757. So there will be plenty of content on that. Keep an eye out. We're hopefully going to record after every day, get a little few snippets after when we get back at night, some content there. So make sure you're subscribed to the YouTube. Subscribe. Representing Pinned, it sounds like. Sounds like we'll be rocking some Pinned stuff. We'll obviously have the rangefinder in the bag because it's just the best rangefinder in the world. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram to make sure you don't miss any of that content. I hope you enjoy the interview. Well, Alec, thanks again for coming on. We appreciate it, man. But how's the golf game been? How are you playing?
Golf game's been pretty good. I actually just joined Granite Links up here in Boston with we got a nice corporate membership deal. So been able to sneak out and play more than I have any other year that I've been in Boston. So it's still early in the season, so the scores aren't quite dialed in yet, but we're getting there.
Love that. I haven't played Granite Links, but I knew someone who was a member there. I've heard it's pretty sweet. Yeah, well, next time you're back up this way, we'll have to get out. Yeah, has Will gotten out there yet? With the new baby, probably not, but
we have snuck him out there for a round.
Was it pre-baby or post-baby? Post-baby.
It was post-baby, excuse me.
Wow.
But I'll tell you, the baby has no impact on his game. He still sucks.
It might actually help him if he plays less.
Yeah, very true.
But Alec, we've got the 2 Prism Plus right in front of us, and we have loved them so far. They're just so awesome. Like, I had the original Prism, and I can't even like believe how much better this one is than the regular Prism. Like, it picks up stuff so much faster. It's really great. Like, how long has this one been in the works?
I'd say just over a year. It's like right when we launched the Prism. I mean, these things take a decent amount of time to develop and get things dialed in. So like right when we launched the Prism, we started immediately working on the Prism Plus. And we finalized the colors. That was probably the last thing, just because we wanted to see what the best selling prisms were. So then we figured out what those were, and then we just rolled with those into the Prism Plus. But yeah, I mean, similarly, what you mentioned, people are just raving about the upgrade, right? Like we have people who've bought every single one of our products. Can't thank them enough. Don't necessarily know if you need a new rangefinder every year, but God bless them. Love that. But they harp upon that. They harp upon how clear the scope is, how quickly it picks up on the actual flag. Again, even the Prism, sometimes you'd pick up the trees behind it or the rocks behind it or whatever it may be behind the flag or the target you're shooting. But with the new Prism Plus, we've implemented the software that allows it to pick up on the first target that it sees in its line of sight. So 99 times that's the target that you're shooting for. So it's been a huge upgrade to my golf game, to thousands of people's golf games across the country, across the world.
Like coming out of the first one, you started that development almost immediately. Was that the main factor, that better accuracy with it, that sort of pushed you guys to go and make a more advanced version, or were there other pieces that you were like, we need to involve this feature on it when you first launched the other Prism?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're always that's what we're trying to do here. We're trying to continue to innovate. We know that we're not perfect, right? We've only been at this for almost 6 years, which might seem like a long time, but again, you look at the bigger players in this space, like they've been doing it for 50 plus years. So we know that the technology isn't perfect. We know that the technology there's always room for improvement, right? So we continue to push ourselves, continue to innovate on that technology. So again, we're already working on another model after the Prism Plus, right? We just came out with it last month, and we're already taking strides to always continue to push the boundaries and continue to get more dialed in, right? At the end of the day, people just care about accuracy, the colors, the other added features, the magnet, like the new mag lock, mag close case is cool, but at the end of the day, they just want an accurate number that they can be confident with when they're stepping up to hit a shot. And that's what we focus the majority of our time on, is just getting that software and getting that technology as dialed in as possible.
Yeah, I love the new case too. The Maglock case is awesome. It's so much easier than any case I've had before for any rangefinder. I also love the American flag one that I have. It's so cool.
Yeah. It's one of our best sellers.
Yeah, I would imagine it kind of matches. I should go back to my kind of Ryder Cup America bag. It would match it perfectly. But I saw that there was a pinned on a US Open bag. How did that happen? Like, that was so cool to see it.
Yeah, it was the whole trip down there was unbelievable. I'd never been to Pinehurst. I'd never played any of the courses, and that was just sort of the cherry on top. So just through a friend of a friend, Eric Linroy, and his caddy was open and such a good dude, Alex, to be willing to work with us. I think he had known of the brand. He had seen the products. I think he had tried some of the products in the past. And I mentioned that I was going down to the US Open. So I was like, dude, I'll bring you one, right? Like, let's figure out some sort of deal here where you can carry this for the entire weekend. And I actually hand delivered him a unit at the US Open, which was like just such a surreal moment. Kind of at a loss of words for the entire thing, you know, like it's insane to see your product on the highest level stage, right? Like it's super cool. But yeah, it just happened through friend of a friend introduction. They were Eric, Scotty, Alex was super familiar with the product, and he was down to kind of support the Pinned family. And one thing led to another. Unfortunately, they didn't make it into the weekend. But we're not going to blame the rangefinder for that by any means. But yeah, it was super cool experience.
Yeah, that's.
I'll
that,
jump.
Go ahead.
I'll jump in, Tim and Alec. Thank you again for your time. I would imagine that's got to be one of the proudest moments you've had when you see your product creation come to real life in a major. Do you have any other moments like that jump out to you when you started or created Pinned?
Yeah, great question. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot. That's definitely up there. I think the moment that I went in to quit my full-time job to pursue Pinned full-time was definitely up there. I think the time we got our very first order ever from like a random person, it wasn't just like a friend that I was getting Venmos from to sell these things. It was like an actual order from someone who had heard of us. That was super cool. That was definitely up there. So I would say those three are definitely up there. I'm trying to think if there are any more. Yeah, I'd say those are the three that really jump out at me. And then yeah, I mean myself quitting and then being able to have my other co-founders join as well, and just that was just a super cool moment and a super cool time for all of us.
It's certainly a strong top three. Kind of going off of that question, when was that moment? When was that aha moment that you knew where you're gonna step away from corporate America and pursue this full time?
Yeah, I think it was right after COVID. I think the game of golf took off during COVID. Right, obviously, again, it's a terrible, terrible, terrible time for the entire world. And I think the silver lining was that golf just exploded, right? And we were at sort of the right place at the right time and selling the right products. So we, at the end of the COVID year, I jumped in full time March of 21. So it had been sort of like a full year after COVID, I believe. And that was really when we saw the opportunity. We said, hey, you know what? Someone's got to do this. And my other two co-founders had just recently got new full-time jobs. So I was like, you know what? I've been in the same company for a while. Like, let me go after this. I've always wanted to do this. I've always wanted to be an entrepreneur. I've always wanted to own my own business, sort of call my own shots, and took a leap of faith. And it's been the best decision I've ever made.
Going off that, so like through that whole journey, what have been some of the biggest roadblocks in your way, or the hardships that you've gone through with getting this off the ground? And now it's off the ground that you're running into that are top of mind for you.
Yeah. Originally it was like time management, right? I'm 23, 24 years old, living in Boston, got a girlfriend at the time, have a ton of friends. Like all we want to do is just like go out and have fun, right? But I'm starting this company. On top of all of that, I have a day job, 9 to 5, cold calling, getting my teeth kicked in, just cold emailing, like the sales gig. So being able to find time to run a business on top of all of that was stressful, was extremely time consuming, right? Like my girlfriend and I would butt heads all the time. I'm like, well, I got to get these orders out. And this one we were like shipping all of them ourselves. So I'm like, I got to get these orders out. She's like, we're going to be late for dinner. And all you can imagine how those conversations went. But time management was definitely something in the beginning that was a huge, I wouldn't say roadblock, but it was just a huge eye opener. Like, okay, we got to figure out how to manage our time, because again, we have such little time to put towards this because we have so many external factors. And now some hurdles are I mean, obviously, people are coming into the space, right? I think we've solidified ourselves as one of the bigger brands in the space, but you see people just kind of nipping at our heels every single day. So just just need to continue to innovate. So trying to stay as lean as possible, biting off more than we can chew in a good way, but just trying to make the most of the opportunity that we have right now.
Yeah, and then I saw that you guys, I get was it January or February, were down at the PGA show. You guys had a pretty big booth down there. It seemed like the reception was pretty good. How was that for you guys?
It was a blast. It was a blast. So last October, we hired our first full-time employee, Parker. She handles all of our social media, a lot of our marketing aspects. And she came down, and this was like the first time that my other co-founder had just joined full-time. She was down there full-time. Me and my other co-founder, Buck, were down there full-time. So we had a full team down there. And it was so cool. That was definitely kind of going back to some of the question that one of the earlier questions of top moments. Like that was definitely a top moment too, right? Just being able to be there, see how cool the booth looked, see just customers coming up to you and being like, hey, like I heard about your product, I love your product, would love to try it out, yada yada yada. Just being able to talk about your product to potential customers and to customers is just it's so cool. And there's the amount of people you meet down there, right? Like they're all just golfers. They all just love golf. They're either golf pros or people just in the industry, just kind of bopping around, and just being in the mix with all of them and chopping it up is just a really cool experience.
Yeah, and I'm sure you were pretty busy with the booth, but what was some of the coolest like new golf stuff you saw that wasn't like rangefinders? What was some of the cool stuff?
I'm unfortunately going to give you probably a boring answer just because like you're right. Like I was
to
the booth pretty much the entire time. I mean, it's just anything you can imagine, right? Like it's literally the world's biggest golf convention. So like every single brand that is anyone is there. So like we got to go to the Titleist booth. We got to see a lot of the bigger booths. So like, not to really answer your question, but like some of those booths that these big OEMs make are just, it's incredible. Like Titleist had like a 3-floor booth with just like this huge apparatus on top, and just every single golf bag of everyone on their team just aligned on top, like golf balls everywhere. That was probably the coolest booth. But what's the coolest product? Yeah, dude, I'm gonna be lame. I don't know if I have an answer to that question, unfortunately. Just because literally the times I left is I'd go to the bathroom, come back to the booth, and then we had one interview at the Titleist booth with Michael Breed, on his XM show, and then we kind of went right back. So a lot of cool golf carts there, I guess. That's my answer. A lot of cool golf carts, tricked out golf carts, like fucking massive, like raised golf carts with like these big ass shocks. Like you would never see them at a golf course, at least no golf course I've ever played. But they were pretty cool.
Is that something you think and I assume you guys would be going back to events like that you take advantage of in the future, try to give yourself more time maybe to like scout out other ideas and stuff like that? I know you're being in the rangefinder business, you're trying to keep up and stay ahead of all these other competitors, like you said, but maybe start exploring like other options that you might pull in. I know with the speakers, for instance, it's a big one, and we've loved those that you guys are putting out now. So are there other ways that you're gonna leverage that opportunity?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, as we continue to grow, right, like there hopefully comes a point where we have a team that's sort of managing the booth, and then we're out sort of, like you said, getting involved with other brands, whether that's to do collabs or just continue growing our partnership, or just taking a peek at the market that's out there. But yeah, I think we've done a great job at selling rangefinders. We've done a decent job at selling speakers, just because it's still a newer product for us. But yeah, I mean, you're going to see a ton of innovation from us over the next, I'd say, 12 to 18 months, just to continue to evolve. I think, again, you evolve or die, and we need to continue to push the boundaries in terms of golf technology, and we just need more products in our product suite. Like, there's only a certain number of people who can buy rangefinders and speakers, but there are other measuring devices that are out there, golf technology products that are out there that we're in the works of as we speak, and unfortunately can't spill the beans on those quite yet. But you'll see a good amount of innovation from us very shortly here.
Yeah, it's really exciting to hear. That's for sure.
Yeah, and then Alec,
Exactly.
I'm still involved in it, but I saw on your LinkedIn that you were involved with the solo kind of apparel brand. Is that something that you're still doing? And is there something going on with that?
Not as much. Dan, the founder of the company, is a local guy up here, and we had just become mutual friends, and he had just asked me to help him out, to try to help revive the brand. He's 33-year-old, absolute sicko, but he's got 5 kids under the age of 5. So just that, you talk about time management, he just had zero time.
Yeah.
Let alone manage. In this, solo was a side hustle for him too. So let alone to manage a business and an actual day job. So unfortunately, he's taking some time away from the brand to let it breathe a little bit. And I'm also obviously taking some time away from the brand also, but sort of a blessing in disguise, right? Pinned is really picking up steam here, and it's really calling my undivided attention. So I'm happy that I'm focusing strictly on Pinned for the time being.
Here's a question for you, Alec. We know entrepreneurship is a bear, right? It requires all of you 24/7 if you're going to get involved. Would you say there's anything that stands out when it comes to entrepreneurship in golf specifically? Is there something that's more important when you're talking about entrepreneurship in the golf world specifically?
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing, dude. I get to go out and golf and call it work. Like, I was on the course today taking pictures and filming content, and I got some swings in, and that's a day in the office. So I can't fucking complain at all. But no, I think to your point, right? I think there's a level of expectation that is just throughout the entire golf industry, right? I think there's a level of sophistication in the products that we put out, right? Like it has to hit a certain standard, right, in order to become something within the golf industry. And I think we've done a really good job at that. So I think we've hit that barrier, and I think we've exceeded it with some of our products. But that just comes with trial and error. So I don't know if that's necessarily the answer what you were poking at, but yeah, I mean, being an entrepreneur in the golf industry, it's great.
And that's it is. I'm curious because we all have that entrepreneurship, mindset with creating a podcast and other stuff outside of, and we all love the game of golf, obviously. And golf, I'm curious to know, does golf mean the same thing to you now as it did before you started Pinned? Has the game changed for you, whatsoever outside of the amount that you might play?
Really good question. And honestly, yeah, it has changed. So I was never that big of a golfer growing up, right? Like, I would use it when, like, I was sub 10 years old, right? My parents would drop me off at the golf course with our buddies, but like, we never would play, right? Like, we are trying to raid the vending machines. We'd run around on the course. We'd go, like, no parents, no rules, right? They drop you off for 4 hours and they pick you up, and you're high off Mountain Dew and like ice cream bars, right? Like, you're not actually out. At least me and my friends, like, we weren't actually out there playing, right? Like, I'm sure if you guys are as good as Timmy is, I'm sure you guys were like at the range, fucking with the lineman sticks under 10, like dialing your putts and all that. But we just used it as an escape route. And as I fell in love with the game, more so towards the end of high school and in college. That's when I really started to get into it. But I've never loved the game of golf more than I do now. Obviously, it's my livelihood, right? Like it's what I eat, breathe, sleep on a 24/7 basis. But I never in a million years thought I'd be working in the golf industry. Just it was I always knew I wanted to get into sports somehow or some way, but I never thought that this would be it. But I never thought that I would love the game of golf as much as I do now, but it's what I think about all the time. And yeah, that's obviously something to do with work, but like I can still go out on the golf course and just have fun with my friends. Like it's not all just work, right? Like it gets me more dialed into like the PGA Tour and like events and stuff like that, and like what's going on in there and like staying in tune in that. So like work almost forces me to do that, but like then it also just becomes a love for the actual game itself.
Special. Tim and I have plenty of stories of both working on our game, but also high on Mountain Dew and so we can play both fields.
Yeah, I'm sure. And I'm sure Timmy has a few high noons in there.
Not back when we were playing high school golf, but since then, honey.
We weren't even around then.
No, but we've got a few rapid fire questions for you. Favorite club in your bag?
50-degree wedge.
Ooh, okay. Stock 8-iron distance.
165.
Okay. Favorite golf course you've ever played?
Pinehurst 10.
Ooh, did you play that when you were down there?
Yeah.
That place looks sick.
Oh my God, dude. Incredible.
That's awesome.
It's unbelievable. Shout out Golf Digest.
Golf course you most want to play that is not Augusta National?
Pebble.
Okay. Dream foursome.
See, this is a tough one. You could either go corny and you could go like sentimental with like my dad, my brother, and someone else, or you could go a real good one.
Give us both. Give us the corny one and give us a good one.
Okay. We'll go with my dad, my brother, and who the fourth be? My sister. We'll throw my sister in there. She doesn't golf, but she'll ride around. She'll be our caddy.
Okay.
And then the celebrity one, I'd probably go with MJ. I mean, you got to go Tiger. And then probably, this is a good one. Schoolboy Q.
Okay.
I am shocked TB12's not in there.
I was about to say him, and then the Schoolboy jumped in my head, and I was like, all right, we're going with Schoolboy. TB12's too Boston.
Yeah, I was gonna. No, I thought you'd start with Tom Brady.
Yeah, it's too obvious.
Go-to food at the turn.
A chicken salad sandwich.
That's a great one. Favorite format when you're playing your buddies?
I don't know what the name of the actual game is, but it's like a 2-point game, one for team low, one for individual low. Don't know what that is. We just always play that.
Okay. Favorite golf course drink?
Transfusion.
That's the right answer.
It has to be that.
That's just the right answer. Alex, last question we got for you here is you touched on it a little bit, but like what's next for Pinned? Where do you see it in 5 years, and what's your dream for it?
Yeah, loaded question, but yeah, it's. I mean, we're just having a blast doing what we're doing, right? Like I can't ever overlook that. I think we're going to continue to come out with innovative products that push the boundaries on the golf course, right? Our motto is lower scores, better vibes. So like we're going to continue to hammer into that motto and continue to try to help people not only shoot better, not only play better, but also have a good time out on the course doing it, right? We're a bunch of 31 and 32-year-olds who run the company. So like we have that younger generation in us, and we're the generation that likes to, similar to you guys, like likes to have fun out on the golf course, right? Like we're blasting music, we're having fun, we're having drinks, we're high-fiving, we're chest bumping if need be, right? Like we get looked at obviously as everyone does just by the old heads in a side eye type of view, but we're just going to keep at it, dude. I get to wake up every day and go to work with now 3 of my best friends. My mom is also part of our team. She handles all of our customer support. So if you ever need anything, shout out to my mom, aka Sarah, in the support inbox. So, and I get to work with her too on a daily basis. So, it's like I can't really complain. We're going to keep trucking forward here. A lot of big things coming on the horizon, like I said, in the next 12 to 18 months that we're super, super bullish on to not only help catapult our business into a next level, but also just the game of golf in general. So we're just going to stay a course, all pun intended, and see what happens.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. And everybody listening, go check out Pinned. And you guys are on Instagram, Twitter, and pinnedgolf.com, right?
All of the above, baby. So
go
Gents,
check them out.
Appreciate you having me on. This was obviously long overdue. Timmy, appreciate you rallying the troops here, but this was a blast, guys.
Yeah, of course, man.
I
It was
appreciate your time.
Awesome to talk to you, and let's get out and play soon. If you're ever down here, down in DC, let us know, or when we're up, we'll connect.
100% for sure.
Yeah. Awesome, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no doubt, guys.